What's going on, everyone? Happy Saturday to everyone. Hopefully, everyone is doing well and having a great day so far. It's time now for the Saturday look at the weather update for Saturday, October 19th, 2024. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is where I do weather updates and climate updates on all things weather in the United States and sometimes other places around the world. Today, we are going to take a look at a news story, which is Phoenix. It's been really hot there. We're going to take a look at the weather happenings in the United States. We're going to update on the tropics. We're going to update on the weather for next week and the mid-range. And, of course, we're going to take a look at some stuff from the Climate Prediction Center as well. So if you're new to my channel, subscribe down below. Give this a thumbs up, hit that notification bell up above, share this video with anyone you know, and of course, leave your comments down below. Alright, the Southwest United States has been extremely warm for this time of year. We are now in late October is going to be coming pretty soon. Phoenix, Arizona just snapped a very impressive heat, a very impressive round of heat that they've been dealing with, and parts of Arizona, Nevada, and New Mexico have been hit by an October heat wave with temperatures 10 to 20 degrees above average. This is just unheard of. And in Phoenix, back on Monday, they reached a record of 103 degrees. A week before that, on October 7th, the city hit 110 degrees, and a day prior to that, it was 113 degrees. This is turning out to be one of the warmest years in the city's recorded history. And a lot of people always like to say, well, it's Phoenix, Arizona. It's supposed to hit 100 there. Yes, sometimes they do hit 100 degrees in the summertime. That is a common thing. But the fact that they have had so many, and I want you to hear this. This summer was already the hottest on record in Phoenix, and 2024 is likely to end up as the warmest year in the city's recorded history so far. Phoenix has had a total of 70 days with high temperatures at or above 110 degrees. Let's say that again. 70 days above 110 degrees. That is just wow, that's incredible. An all-time record that has smashed the city's previous record of 55 days. So, yeah, while they do get days over 110, 70 in 1 year, that is just incredible. And it's a sign of how summers have been getting longer, summers have been starting earlier, and they've been ending later. For example, and you'll see in the forecast here a little bit, some places in the east are going to go well above average early next week. In fact, we're already starting to trend above average now. Here in Philadelphia, as I look to my right, I'm in the northeast section of the city. My Davis weather station says 76 degrees, which, by the way, would be warmer than expected for today, which it's a bad sign of what's to come over the next couple days. All right, taking a look at the latest satellite picture, you'll notice a few things here. First off, we do have some unsettled weather now in the southwest, and that was what helped break that heat that was ongoing there. Very quiet in the eastern United States, but take a look down here in the Atlantic. Yes, just to the southeast of the Bahamas. We do now have Oscar, which is a hurricane. That's right. Remember we were watching Invest 94L? Well, that quickly formed into a tropical storm this morning. Then the hurricane hunters flew in and said, wait a second, this is borderline hurricane status. And then they kept flying through it, and guess what? It's a hurricane. We also had Nadine that made landfall this morning. Now, taking a look at what's going on with the radar picture, you can see for the most part, the United States, and I am going to refresh this, for the most part, the United States is quiet. You do have some rain and showers from Seattle on northwest up into Canada, and that is going to be persistent probably for a while. We also do have some minor showers just to the northeast of Minneapolis. Nothing impressive. And then, of course, what's going on in the Four Corners region, where there actually is a severe weather threat today for portions of New Mexico. But take a look. Overall, it is quiet. Florida, you want quiet. Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina, you guys want quiet. But surrounding your area, and I've been talking about this on each and every video, there is a drought problem that is continuing to get worse. In the Northeast today, the humidity is low, and there's a slight breeze that comes from time to time. Low humidity, slight breeze, dry conditions. The wildfire potential is there. Taking a look at the national hazards map, as I refresh this, we can see here there is a flood watch off for portions of New Mexico today. You could see a few inches of rain in a very short period of time. There is also a frost advisory up for south central Pennsylvania. While things are going to be warm during the daytime, at nighttime temperatures will get down. You have the low humidity, you have the clear skies, there's no blankets, so temperatures will really radiate, and any of that heat, it's going to evaporate, and you will get into the 30s still at nighttime. And we can see on the west coast, there are red flag warnings that are up for portions of there. Now let's take a look at the latest air qualities, and you'll see some improvement in the air qualities. In the east, things are not doing too bad, but again, if any wildfires should pop up, you do have air quality problems. There are still some wildfire problems out in the west. That's why we see the bad air qualities there. And we do have some bad air qualities today from Minnesota back across to Denver. And even Toronto, Canada is seeing some bad air qualities. Vancouver up in Canada is seeing some bad air qualities today. All right, here we go. And let me refresh this. Oscar. It's now a hurricane. Yes, Hurricane Oscar. Just about an hour ago, they declared it a hurricane. Then we do have what's left of Tropical Storm Nadine. So let's do with Nadine first. Nadine still has 50-mile-per-hour winds, and we do see that it has gone onshore over Belize and Yucatan Peninsula, and that is going to continue its journey there. And it may be something that once it actually completes its course over land, once it gets back into the Pacific or goes into the Pacific, it may redevelop and become one of those cross storms that then gets named out in the Pacific. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Now, taking a look at what's going on with Hurricane Oscar. A special advisory product was issued by the National Hurricane Center around 2 o'clock. Reckon finds, and mind you, Oscar is not a very big storm. Reckon finds tiny Oscar a hurricane. Hurricane warnings have been issued for the Turks and Caicos Islands and southeast Bahamas. So it's something we're going to be watching for the next several days. And take a look at this. You can see it is a hurricane. It's going to continue west, but then it is literally going to make like a U-turn and go back out to the east and northeast through the Bahamas. And who knows, if this was to survive long enough, it could be a threat for Bermuda down the line, but right now it's not looking like it may stay organized that long. But let's take a look at some more data here, and this is from Dr. Levy Cohen earlier. Right before the time the NHC issued its advisory, he put out this post saying that Reckon found it stronger. And now let's take a look at what's going on with Oscar right now. And you can see here, it is not a big storm by any means, but there is this circulation that's relatively impressive, and the winds have gotten strong enough that it is a hurricane. And you can see here, Oscar at this time, let's go back to the numbers here. Oscar at this time, it's at 80-mile-per-hour winds, 989 millibars, and it is moving west at 12 miles per hour. Now, what do the hurricane models say for Oscar? Well, that's a good question, and here they are. You can see they have it continuing west, then they do have that movement and U-turn going back to the northeast. So this is not looking to be a threat to the United States at this time, but again, you can see here, Bermuda, you do need to pay attention to the storm. Take a look at intensity guidance. They do keep it at a Category 1 for about the next 24 hours. There are even a couple members that go to a Category 2, Category 3. I don't know that that's going to happen. But then after that, it is generally going to weaken, and it could remain a tropical storm for some time, for at least the next several days. I don't know if it's going to stay a hurricane because it may interact with land a little bit, which may help to weaken the storm system. And after the U-turn, it should still at least be a tropical storm. Then eventually it will fizzle out in the Atlantic. More on this storm in just a little bit. Let's take a look at that drought map. You can see here, it updated on Thursday. A majority of the country is in drought conditions right now. We are getting some relief down in New Mexico, with places like Albuquerque getting some rainfall today. And of course, in the southeast, you don't really need rain, with exceptions to South Carolina and southeast Georgia, where it is just a little bit dry at this time. Moving on now to the weather Prediction Center, and we can see here there is that slight risk today for excessive rainfall across portions of New Mexico and even into Colorado as well, and extreme northwest Texas. Let's take a look at rainfall amounts over the next, we'll say the next 7 days, and see what this shows from the Weather Prediction Center. And we can see here that heavier rainfall is expected in New Mexico and southern portions of Colorado. So this is some actually really good news for you, but the problem is your ground is very dry, so any rainfall that occurs is going to run off. We can see in the Pacific Northwest, here's another hot spot for rainfall, generally from extreme northern California on up into portions of Oregon and Washington. General 2 to 4 inches of rainfall is possible for you. In the east, it is going to be very quiet from Florida all the way up to Maine, places like Washington, D.C., North Carolina, Nashville, Tennessee. It's going to be very dry. And for places like the Northeast, this is not a good thing. We are already in drought. Some places just entered severe drought, and I foresee this worsening if we don't see any measurable rainfall soon. And you can see here, the only real rainfall is going to be from a frontal system that comes through the middle of next week. Same deal goes for the Great Lakes. Not much in the way of precipitation. Southern California is looking dry, and the northern plains is looking dry as well. All right, taking a look real quickly. Storm Prediction Center for today. There is a slight risk of severe weather across portions of New Mexico. Tornadoes. Yeah, there could be one or two of them. Wind and even some hail are on the table for today and tomorrow. There is also a slight risk of severe weather as well. Could be a small tornado threat with that as well. And then there is a marginal risk on Monday from portions of Texas, portions of Oklahoma, even into Kansas. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that. Only a marginal risk at this time. Alrighty, let's take a look at the latest NAM model run, and we can see here those showers and storms and even some heavier rainfall in the Four Corners region does continue today. Seattle, things are going to remain wet throughout the day. You'll get a little break tomorrow morning, but watch what happens. Another storm system will enter the picture, or another round of precipitation will enter the picture tomorrow evening, and you could get some heavier rainfall with that. Everywhere else across the country is looking really quiet, and we'll have to keep our eyes on Monday across Oklahoma and Kansas. That could get upgraded to a slight risk of a few thunderstorms that may go severe. And in Florida, there could be a few showers as early as Monday that may try to enter the picture, but nothing major at this time. The other story that we have to talk about is temperatures are going to go well above average in the east. So first off, let's take a look at tomorrow. And we can see as we head into tomorrow, you can see the plains do get into the 70s and 80s. And look what happens across portions of Pennsylvania, across the Mid-Atlantic. It's showing upper 60s, but honestly, I think that is going to go into the 70s. And we can see as we head into Monday, there you go. Things do go into the 70s. And now let's switch this over to the GFS model, and I'll show you the GFS is rather warm as well. Temperatures will really warm up next week. You can see there's these little pockets in the Mid-Atlantic region on Tuesday. Yeah, 80s, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and then take a look across Texas. This is really warm for you at this time of the year as well. You can see mid-80s there. Even as we head into Wednesday, still looking at temperatures in the 80s, maybe even 90s in Oklahoma. So again, that's really warm for this time of year. But look what happens here. A front does come through, but it is really moisture starved. You can see here comes that trough. The front does come through, and it really doesn't do much of anything in terms of precipitation. Just some showers, maybe even snow showers across portions of the Northeast. Remember, the mountains of Vermont, Mount Mansfield, already saw a foot of snow just a few days ago, and the majority of that has now melted. All right, let's take a look at the tropics on the GFS, and we'll go to the North Atlantic view, and we can see here the GFS did not do a very good job of picking up on Oscar. There's Oscar right down here in the southeast Bahamas, and you can see here it doesn't do much, and it kind of just fizzles. Then it tries to transfer to a new low northeast of Bermuda. Then it pretty much goes out to sea. And if we switch models here, let's switch over to the CMC model. You can see once again it doesn't do much with Oscar. Oscar kind of weakens a little bit over the islands. Then it tries to maintain itself, and on the CMC, it just completely fizzles all together. together. All right, taking a look back at the United States view, and we'll keep with the CMC for a moment. We can see here as we head into late next week and the next weekend. Hey, look here, really quiet across much of the United States. There will be a parade of storm systems that continues in the Pacific Northwest, and I personally think things are going to be above average there for precipitation. But anywhere else in the country, we're not talking much in the way of above average precipitation. Generally, a quiet pattern. Let's take a look at the Climate Prediction Center, and let's refresh this because some new data just came in, and we can see here widespread above average temperatures across portions of the plains. Yeah, you saw it. Oklahoma could even hit 90 degrees again. We're in mid to late October. Now, that's just absurd for this time of the year. And let's go over to the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook. Yeah, very dry across much of the country. I'm very concerned about that at this time. But you can see there's that above average precipitation in the Pacific Northwest. And now let's make our way over to the new 8 to 14 day temperature outlook just in. Well, above average across much of the country for many places. Yeah, it may get a little cool in the morning, but it's not going to feel like mid-fall come in the 8 to 14 day range. As we head towards the end of the month and towards November, I think many places are just going to be above average when it comes to the temperatures. And precipitation along the east is going to remain below average. We may finally get a wetter pattern that sets up in the northern plains. Maybe that parade of systems that's coming into the Pacific Northwest may try to make itself or make its way a little bit more east, but we'll have to see. And should that happen, then maybe eventually we could get one of those systems to break off and track their way into the Northeast and give some rainfall. But I'm not really hopeful at this point because I'm just not seeing it. Down the line, as we head to the second half of this month, I think it just remains dry in the east and maybe some shower activity in Florida. Alaska, at that point, you will be seeing some above average precipitation and perhaps maybe even some winter precipitation. And then if I was to go out further into November, again, dry may continue in the east, and eventually we may get a system or two. And I'll tell you what, some places in the east are going to have their driest October ever recorded. I don't even know that I have recorded 1/100th of an inch of rain this month. Yeah, it's been that dry here in Philadelphia. It's been that dry in a lot of places in the Northeast. Alrighty, folks, that does it for the Saturday edition of the weather update. We'll have another weather update, I don't think tomorrow. We'll have the next one probably on Monday. Hopefully, maybe there'll be some rain showing up on the models for the areas that need rain. But right now, generally quiet in the east. The most active will be Four Corners region. And again, if you are up there in the Pacific Northwest, you can follow me at Climate Data Report over on X and now on Blue Sky as well. That's right, I am on Blue Sky. I know a lot of people are making the transition over to Blue Sky. I'm still on both platforms, but I'll be posting equally as much on Blue Sky. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Want to see more content like this? Subscribe down below, hit that notification bell, share this video with anyone you know, and leave your comments down below. I will see you all again next time. Till I see you again next time, have a fantastic weekend, everyone, and thanks for watching.